What's going on, everybody? We're back. Views from Section 400. It's your boy, Matt. I got Jack and Brian along with me. Views from Section 400. Midweek show. We got an action-packed one. World of sports has been crazy. A lot of information to dive into. You got us to ride along for the next hour or so to uncover it all. Get our opinion analysis on how we think the crazy world of sports is rolling out. So we'll cover all that good stuff as well as dive into some playoff talk for the NFL. We obviously just had a crazy weekend. I should be more pissed off because the Eagles just got blown out in Tampa. But I called this. If you watched the pod last time, I said this is how this was going to play out. Not surprised. And they can go figure out in the offseason. I'm just counting down the days till pitchers and catchers report. But Brian, welcome aboard. Jack, welcome aboard. Brian, I'll start with you. How you been, man? What do you want to dive into first here?
Yeah, no, I've been good. Feeling good. Auburn basketball is still flying high. Somehow, the people over working for the AP and the USA Today coaches poll have not ranked them in the top 10. Don't know why. At least the odds makers are respecting them. We're favored to win the SEC. So I'm ecstatic about Auburn sports in general right now. And that's great because it's been a rough year for everything else going on. So, yeah, Jack, I'm sure you're just excited as I am.
Yeah, War Eagle, man. Football, you said it all. Football is doing well with the recruiting, and basketball, they're wagging right now. 3-0 in SEC play. Got Vanderbilt tonight of the recording. So by the time you guys listen to this, they'll have already beat them and probably covered the 11 points because they're just a wagon right now. Love Auburn basketball. Love Auburn football. Auburn's looking up, man. War Eagle.
Yeah, they are looking up, but Brian, I guess you're not too pleased they're not in the top 10 yet. What's going on there? Has the committee not seen enough to throw them in the top 10?
It doesn't make much sense to me because you have Kentucky and you have Tennessee with multiple losses. I mean, Auburn has 2, but none in the SEC. And they're ranked
younger teams as well.
Yeah, younger team. They're ranked severely higher. Like Tennessee's still 6, Kentucky's 8, I believe, depending on what poll you're looking at, and Auburn's all the way down at 13. So it doesn't make much sense to me at all, especially with all these upsets happening in college basketball. But you know what? Just keep them on the low radar here. No reason to make their heads too big. I like where they are.
We'll see as we roll into conference play. I know you guys said undefeated in conference play. And is it a trip to Vanderbilt or at home tonight?
It's a trip over to Vanderbilt. If they were home, it would probably be like a 20-point spread.
Probably be a crazier spread. I was going to say, if they're home and it's only 11, I'd take them up to 15, man. But, and Auburn usually is frauds on the road. We saw it early on against Appalachian State, but I think they're kind of, that blowout loss at Arkansas or blowout win at Arkansas kind of took me away from the fraud. And Jack, I see you shaking your head, but Brian knows I've bet Auburn on the road plenty of times in the past, and it has not worked out in my favor. So there's factual evidence to support that claim. Check the lost bet slips.
Look, I know that sounds personal, but let's not say Auburn are a bunch of frauds on the road. They're just a lot better at home. Believe that. In the jungle, a lot better of a team.
They are.
I'll take them at home against anybody in the country on any day.
At home, they're not frauds. But on the road is a different story.
Too, as we saw at Arkansas with that dominant win in SEC play. But I will give it to you, they're not as good.
We talked about Auburn's team getting disrespected. The jungle is still getting disrespected. That place is insanely hard to play for opposing teams. And I don't know why it's not ranked as a top 5 home court advantage in college basketball, but it'll get there.
I was going to say, what's the number one? And then
doesn't have the history of like a Cameron Indoor or
is it just like, it's Cameron Indoor, like they're auto one because it's Duke? Like, why do they get number 1?
Kansas gets a big one too. Everyone loves the Allen Fieldhouse, but that place is too big. Like you need a small arena that the sound just holds, and that's exactly what Neville Arena down in Auburn.
Yeah, I mean the same thing I guess with Cameron Indoor. I know people love get all high and mighty on I guess it's what Indiana's home court, the Fieldhouse or whatever it is. Or I don't even know what they have these, names for it all. That's we don't need to go through the whole toughest spots to play. in college basketball. Because look, if your team's good, any home atmosphere should be pretty good. Other than Vanderbilt, I think that setup's horrendous. College basketball is heating up, like we're talking about. We're rolling on, moving on. FAU, Jack, our squad has been looking better, as Brian called them out. So they're trending in the right direction. But college basketball is heating up. Brian, I don't know if you want to touch on what we might have up ahead today. I do know what we have our bracketology out. Do we want to drop that and let people know? Check that weekly. I love our rankings right now. I don't know about you, Brian, but I think our fucking rankings are rock solid. You want to explain that a little bit more to everyone watching? Maybe explain how that might work.
Yeah, so when we were making those rankings on Saturday, we were kind of just looking at Joe Lenardi's just to kind of get like a sense of where his head was at. And he had a couple teams that he didn't have in. Like he didn't have Wake Forest anywhere on his bracket. He didn't have TCU anywhere on his bracket. And we are like, those two teams should be in. Lo and behold, his bracket came out yesterday, and both of those teams are now in the dance, according to Joe Lenardi. So all I'm saying is if you want the best rankings, the fastest, go on viewsfromsection400.com. Every week on Sunday, we're updating the bracketology. Me and Matt watch a ton of college basketball. As you know, Matt just loves betting college basketball. I've been hot on the college basketball picks. So we're a good source, and it's a lot of fun. We're going to be updating it every week until March Madness. So definitely go check that out. Every week it drops Sunday.
I don't know why you wouldn't.
Golf clap for the boys real quick. Look at you two. Look at
Dude,
you two reeling
locked
in
in.
college basketball, baby.
Locked in, dude. Brian and I sat there for what, Brian? An hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, approaching 2 hours, just dialing up the field of 64 with the 4 play-ins as well. So we got 68 teams on there.
Yep.
And we even added some slashes for the 11 seed play-in game in Dayton, Ohio.
Yep.
So you got the whole board covered.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned it. We were on there for an hour and a half. I think we spent like 20 minutes just debating like the 14 versus 15 line. Like that's how much we care about this shit. So go check it out because we got you covered.
I love the rankings on that, so definitely a good read because it took us almost 2 hours to put together and have some good hard analysis on. Take you guys about 5 minutes to get the updated field in college basketball. So definitely keep on the lookout for that. Now we jump over to the NBA. The dog days of the season, your January, your February, your March, your bullshit. Brian, what's going on? I know we have some news that's been jumping up. What do you got?
Yeah, so Pascal Siakam has been traded to the Indiana Pacers. So the Pacers trying to build, I guess, their version of a super team. And the Raptors in full rebuild mode now. I believe the trade was Siakam over for 3 first-round picks and Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown now is on his 5th NBA team. He debuted in 2018, so that guy's been passed around more in the NBA than a Kardashian. But yeah, those 3 first-round picks for the Raptors, I mean, they're young. They got quickly R.J. Barrett, Scotty Barnes, and now 3 first-round picks. So I don't know. Maybe they're building something up in the 6th. But I know Jack has a pretty strong opinion about Pascal Siakam, so I'll hand it off to you.
Look, I don't really want to hate on him too much. I think he didn't really deserve that contract. Him nor Fred VanVleet. I think that Raptors run that they made was purely Kawhi and a whole lot of luck as well on their side. So I think everybody got a little bit of too much money out of that, and that's all I'm gonna say, man. I'm not gonna hate on him too hard. I just think he's a little overvalued, a little overhyped, a little overrated.
I mean, it took the ball bouncing 15 times on the rim to beat the Sixers in Game 7. So yeah, definitely some luck involved there. But
Yeah.
look, I mean, it was a move. It was a move they made. I guess we kind of were talking about a pre-pod. The Raptors build around Scotty Barnes, Emmanuel Quickly, and RJ Barrett now. I mean, is that the future for the North, for the Six, whatever you want to call it?
Yeah, I mean, that's what they got, a point guard of the future. I guess a small forward and Scotty Barnes to play the 4. So you're a center and then another scorer away from having a Pretty solid
And
starting five.
if you add like two like pretty solid, like one elite scorer and then one like above average good scorer, I think you can get away throwing Jakob Pertl down there at the 5 playing center.
Yeah, maybe. I don't
He's
know.
he, he's been around for a while though.
I think he's serviceable if he doesn't have to be the main guy.
Something tells me he's going to be gone by the trade deadline with the
yeah.
He
way
might
they're
be.
trending.
Brian, please make sure you fact check me on this, but didn't he become the center in and around the time that Tim Duncan left the Spurs?
It was somewhere around there. I can't remember. He's gone from the Raptors to the Spurs probably 4 times in his career. So I don't know what time frame he was where, but it seems like he's just kind of traveling from Texas to Toronto. And it can't be fun because it's two very different climates. But yeah, that's that's his kind of career arc.
So yeah, I mean, kind of to keep it moving here with the NBA still. Embiid totally dominating and outplaying Jokic last night. I don't know why anybody's surprised. He is the better player. I don't care if Jokic has won a ring, MVP, this, that, and the third. Embiid just hasn't had the talent around him to get it done. He's had drama and Hollywood actors around him who will care about their egos and themselves and don't care about winning basketball games. Ben Simmons does not care about winning basketball games. James Harden can say all he wants that he cares about winning. That guy doesn't give a rat's ass about winning basketball games. He's too busy making and producing wine bottles. That's why he wants to be out in California so he can be close to the fucking great vineyards.
Yeah, well, you know who did care about winning basketball games? You kind of mentioned it earlier with the Kawhi shot, but your best chance to win it all, Jimmy Butler, and they just let him walk.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, they tried to control him and didn't say the right things at the end of the year, which kind of forced him out of there. But let's stay on the topic at hand, right? All that stuff's in the past, and we'll leave it there. Good riddance to Harden and Simmons. James, hate to see you go, man, but this isn't 2017 anymore. Hope Miami's been treating you well. Embiid totally dominated last night. The Sixers look electric. I'm trending towards starting to get bought in because they don't have the extra star, even though I just talked about him needing the extra star. But what they also have lacked in the past that they don't lack this year is an extremely deep and competent bench, meaning they can put a whole second unit out there and they can compete, and even sometimes strive to win games. I mean, Pat Bev, veteran leader, second unit. Kelly Oubre, guy scores 20 points a night. You get him on the second unit. He's better than a lot of guys' second teamers. Marcus Morris, just a career role, gritty, hard player from Philly. Got the key to the city from the mayor the other day. I don't know if anybody saw that, but for whatever reason, they gave him the key to the city or gave him a special ceremony. Not trying to make a joke of the situation. I don't know if there was something serious going on. So they somebody passed away or there was something serious. So they gave him this key, but just thought that was totally random. But yeah, dude, the bench is so much deeper and competent than it has been in years past. And that's why I'm starting to believe a little bit, but you will never see me 100% bought in until they're out of the second round playing for an Eastern Conference final. But yeah, other than that, you can call me a fake fan, this, that, and the third. No, I'm not a fake fan. I've been watching this bullshit since 2016 or 2017. I've been getting fleeced and fucking punked by Trust the Process for almost the last damn 10 years, and I haven't seen shit from it. So no, I'm not a fake fan. I'm being realistic so that I don't get all worked up on the Sixers for the millionth year in a row and they lose in the second round. So get out of the second round and we can go fucking nuts. That's all I got on that.
They do have I will say, slightly better chance of getting out of that second round because you'll have Embiid getting doubled and kicking it out to, like you said, Kelly Oubre or D'Anthony Melton rather than Mike Scott in the corner for three. So
fucking James Ennis. Fucking who is the other guy? I can't. Alec Burks. Give me a break, dude. You can't have these guys out there playing real playoff minutes.
I forgot about
now they have a better
Ennis.
competent bench. James Ennis is a joke. It's a joke. And the guy was getting meaningful playoff minutes. Meaningful minutes. He was a joke. Horrible player. Guy was the sixth man. Guy shouldn't even be on the NBA roster. He's a fucking sixth man of playoff team. It's unbelievable. Now they have the competent bench role players. We'll see what happens. Maxey blooming into a star. Quick round the horn. We won't spend more than 10 seconds on it. I think yes. Jack, Tyrese Maxey, all-star, yes or no?
Yes.
Brian, yes or no?
Yep.
There you have it. Maxey's an all-star, blossoming into the superstar that people said, can he take the next step? I think he's proving that he's doing it right now. The next step's there. 25 points a game, 25 points a game. That's called taking the next step. Jack, I'll kick it over to you. I know you want to add a little NBA in there as well.
Yeah, no. I mean, Tyrese Maxey, he's making that next step, and he needs to for his team. I don't know if I can say Embiid is better than Jokic, but he played like it the other night, and he's been playing like it, over the past few weeks. It's not just a short stretch since he's been doing this. But I just wanted to touch on Gigi Jackson, the young bull. I don't know if you guys saw some of his viral clips from this week, but he got interviewed by Shaq after dropping like 20, 25 points or something like that. And he was just ecstatic when he heard Shaq's voice. He had like a true like kid reaction. Very touching moment. It was very nice. You should look it up if you're ever feeling down. And then also you guys saw Draymond talking about him on his podcast. He was saying that Gigi Jackson came up to Steph at half court after like hitting a three on him or something like that. And he was saying, Steph, I got uninvited from your camp back in the day, the Steph Curry like shooting camp. And Steph Curry was like, oh, dude, like I actually remember that. Like we sent out too many invites and we had to rescind some of them. And Gigi Jackson just found some, extra motivation to go out there and drop 20 points on the Warriors, 3 in Steph Curry's face just for that reason. And I'm sure Steph barely even, remembers that. He probably just said that to be nice. But yeah, Gigi Jackson, bro, shout out that kid. Hopefully he rises into a nice little star in this league because he's a cool guy to watch.
Yep. Shout out to Gigi Jackson. Shout out the Memphis Grizzlies. Big fan Aaron Taylor, friend of the pod. And then, Gigi Jackson, SEC kid. So rooting for you. And I guess
got a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah.
Got a lot of stuff going on.
He's got some good juju going for him, and he'll get playing time on the Grizzlies now that Morant's out for the year. So.
But Brian, you didn't I know you're usually anti-Philly, so I wanted your reaction to the Jokic Embiid talk.
So Jokic should have won the MVP last year. Embiid got his Mickey Mouse MVP award. And I will say, I think he saw the media chatter and saw he still needed to get better, and he's going for a non-Mickey Mouse MVP award this year. And I do think he's outplaying Jokic, at least right now. I will say at home, Jokic stats look a lot better just because those role players are making the threes when he's getting triple teamed. So on the road, it's a little easier to outplay him. But that's also because Embiid can just take over a game more with scoring. So, Embiid deserves his flowers. I think he'll get a non-Mickey Mouse MVP this year if it doesn't go to SGA. But yeah. Yeah,
SGA definitely on the cards for a shot at the MVP, I think. I mean, you got to include him, right? I mean, he's right there as the Thunder's best player, and the Thunder are clearly the most improved team in the entire league, not just the Western Conference. So I think that needs to be added in there.
Yeah, he's the third betting favorite right now behind those two. And he struggled in LA on Tuesday, and the Thunder lost, but that was an off night for him. So the nights where he's scoring 30, the Thunder are winning. And that should tell you all you need to know about his chances to win the MVP.
I think it's pretty wild. We have two centers as 1 and 2 as the betting favorites for MVP. I mean, that just doesn't happen and hasn't happened since like Bill Russell was fucking playing.
I feel like these two have been the two betting MVPs for the past few seasons now, though.
Yeah, just these two, and then the even crazier part, we talk about them, and then SGA. None of these guys are American, so you think of the NBA as like the U.S. owns basketball, but like the best players in the league right now, if you want to add Giannis to that list, like no one's from the U.S.
Luka too, man. I mean, that guy can compete for an MVP if I don't know what's going on with the Mavs this year, but I know Kyrie's like not causing a scene. If you don't hear about Kyrie, And that means, I guess, things are going well because
Yeah,
there's no major headlines.
I think they're 4 over right
No
now.
news is good news.
Exactly.
Luka's been out, so Kyrie's had to kind of step up lately. But yeah, they're good.
Yeah. All
But
right.
yeah, well,
Let's get into some NFL talk. All right.
I don't know, dude. Got to jump over to the land down under.
Oh boy.
Australian Open action has tipped off major, the first major of the tennis season. As you know me, I got my intel on all the sports worldwide. And if you look into tennis, I mean, it's really extremely popular international sport as well as it is here in America. I know a lot of these matches are going to be streamed on ESPN. If you have a moment, check out some of the matches, learn the game a little bit, because I know when you first start, you have no idea what you're watching. It doesn't make sense and it's not enjoyable, but understand the game a little bit. It's not a hard concept how the scoring works. You just need to watch a match, understand it a little bit. I guarantee you pick it up. And then when you start seeing how some of these players play, serve, technique, fatigue over a 2, 3, 4 hour match, you'll start to really get into it. So definitely give it a shot. But obviously, this isn't going to dominate the conversation, but I just wanted to lob out a couple futures that I'll be taking. And I guess we can jump back on this, when the tournament's all said and done. But for the women's singles, I really, really like Alina Rybakina, who's been lights out last year on tour. She might be the third or fourth favorite, right? Because you're going to have Iga Swiatek, who's the number one player in the world right now. And then I want to say Sabalenka is second. But Rybakina comes right in there at third. She's still young, plays tennis the right way, does all the fundamental stuff. But when it comes to girls, the girls who have the power serve tend to do better. It's on hard court where the serve will really fly off the racket for her. So I like Rybakina. I should know the betting odds on it, but I want to say she's like maybe third or fourth on the odds. You might be able to get her for plus 1,000 right now. Might be like a little lower, not sure, but you can get some pretty good plus money juice. I think she's got a legitimate shot to win this tournament. On the men's side, there's a bunch of people out there who have a shot, but you got to understand Djokovic and Carlos Alcaraz are still the top two guys. Jokic or Jokovic, I was just talking about Jokic. Novak Djokovic is still the guy regardless of age. He'll have moments where it seems like, oh, this guy's gaining momentum, and he just turns it on. Like he could lose the first set and then come back and win 3 straight sets, because that's obviously on the men's side. What you have to do is win 3 sets to win the match. He's a guy who could drop the first 2 and then win 3 straight sets and win the match. So, he's just it's unbelievable the tennis he puts in, and we see why he didn't get vaccinated, because he really wanted to keep that blood pure. And they fucking outlawed him from tournaments, and he stayed involved with that, and he stayed on his high horse and said, "I'm not getting that shit," and he did it, and now he's back playing in the tournaments they didn't let him play in 2 years ago. Now he's back playing in them and dominating them. Crazy stuff. But yeah, Djokovic, obviously the heavy favorite there on the men's side. I like Yannick Sinner if you want to go for some plus money juice. I'm not sure where he falls in that. But Brian, I did see in the notes, you got Taylor Fritz as an American to win it all. I want you to elaborate on that a little bit before I can just shut that entire fucking argument down.
All right. I may be a little biased here. An American has not won a major since 2003. And I know Taylor Fritz loves to win in the first 2 rounds and then completely implode after that. But hey, this is the year. This is the year. Djokovic is getting old. I think he had Sebastian Baez on his draw. That guy sucks. So, like, Taylor Fritz, he has a path to get there. And I know this is not advice. He's not going to win, most likely. But I will be rooting heavily for him.
So Fritz did win his first 2 rounds. He's on to the 3rd round, and he plays some guy. I don't know his first name. It just says F, but F Marozin, who isn't ranked. Fritz should be able to move through that, right? So that'll get him into the quarterfinal. Mm-hmm. And on the other side, on a potential opponent would be this guy L Van Asch, some French guy, who is playing Stefano Tsitsipas. And Tsitsipas is going to roll through this French guy, and Tsitsipas is not losing to Taylor Fritz. So I hate
He's getting up there
to
though in age though, right? He's getting,
Tsitsipas.
yeah.
He's got to still be in his 20s, man. He might
Uh,
even be. He might be like 26 or 27. And
well,
look,
then maybe
like
not.
no, Fritz will flounder out. I'll tell you, if you want to root for an American, root for Tommy Paul. Tommy Paul's got a shot to be electric this tournament. I believe he's still in it. I want to see if I can pull it up. You got Sebastian Korda, who's going up against Rublev. I mean, these are Americans I'd be on the lookout for. I'm just not the biggest fan of Taylor Fritz. But look, they're down in Australia, and I'll wrap this up because I've been on way too much of a tangent here. But if you want some crazy plus money juice, and I don't know what the odds are, but they are down in Australia. This guy, Alex de Mignard, I don't know how to say his name. He's Australian, 10th seed, playing in his home country. The crowds are all going to be behind him. We've already seen it. He's looked electric. I think maybe he's got a shot. If he wins his match, then it would be him against Rublev or Korda. That would be an awesome match. So we have some awesome tennis pulling up. Nonetheless, Djokovic, favorite to probably win. But give me Rybakina on the women's side. Let's check back on that when the tournament's coming to an end or if she gets hosed out. I don't think she's lost yet. But Brian or Jack, take us in to some NFL while I make sure Rybakina's still playing.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Matt. I'm gonna get you guys away from some tennis and back into some football. This is who we are at the brass tacks, American, loving the game of football. So let's talk about wild card weekend because it was a wild weekend. And we're gonna start out with something a little bit of fun, all right? So Brian, Matt, I want your biggest winners and biggest losers from this week.
All right. Well, I have a couple for you. So my biggest winner, well, I'll give you my biggest loser first, and that is going to be anger management professionals. So apparently it pays well to be angry in football. Who would have thought? So this receiver over in Tampa Bay, Trey Palmer, he has tweeted that he has woken up pissed off 5 times over the past 2 years. Every time he's done that, he has scored a touchdown. Now, I don't know what the kind of connecting the dots is there, but all I'm saying is if you are a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan working at a hotel in Detroit and you happen to see the Buccaneers pull into your hotel, it might do you a favor if you piss in Trey Palmer's Cheerios before the game on Saturday. He's going to be pissed off and he's probably going to score a touchdown. All right, my other loser is rebuilding teams. So the Panthers, we've seen their rebuild just be a disaster. The Cleveland Browns rebuilt for like our whole lives pretty much until they finally got good. And then you see the Green Bay Packers and the Houston Texans hire a competent coach, draft a competent quarterback, and just have a competent front office people. The Texans won 2 games last year. They just won a playoff game. The Green Bay Packers were supposed to rebuild this year. Jordan Love just lit up the world, had like the highest PFF quarterback grade of all time in the wild card round last week. So losers that aren't winning playoff games and are quote unquote rebuilding, figure it out. And don't draft Bryce Young.
It's horrible.
That was a big mistake. For my winners, I'll give you modern medicine. Mark Andrews somehow suffered a really high ankle injury, week 10? And he's fully practicing. He's going to play on Saturday. So shout out modern medicine. We saw with Brock Bowers in college football earlier this season, and now Mark Andrews is doing it. And then my last winner is going to be dome stadiums. So I don't know if you guys saw this, but there was a reporter that asked Todd Bowles a long question, a very thoughtful question. She asked him, it's going to be 13.
She thought she was just cutting edge, dude. Cutting edge question.
She went through, the Buffalo weather, all this bad weather in the playoffs. And she said it's going to be 13 degrees when you land in Detroit for your football game. What are you going to do to prepare your team for the game? Todd Bowles kind of looked at her, looked around and said, they play in a dome. They've played in the dome for the past 4 or 5 decades. Room just went silent. So shout out dome stadiums. Not only do they provide aesthetically pleasing football games, but they also provide shelter against the cold weather. So they're a big winner this week.
Yeah, they do. And what was his reaction? It was like, they'll be in the exposed for like 20 seconds when we get off the bus and walk in, but then it's a dome. It's just a ridiculous question. I wonder how some of the other ego heads in the NFL would have responded to that.
Oh my
Yeah,
God. Yeah.
honestly, I think some of the other coaches would have just been a little bit more rude about it, but I do think that you could tell it was a woman that was asking that question, and I think it's always best to just be nice, right?
Can you
Yeah,
imagine Belichick in that situation?
that's what I'm saying. Like,
I
I
think he
don't,
would handle it the same exact way. I think the game's in a dome, so we'll be all right.
but no, I'll run through the winners and the losers, and then Jack will get who you got. But obviously, everybody's assuming it should be the Eagles. But I think the Eagles have been in shambles for the last month. That I already expected this to happen. They've been the losers for the last month, not this last weekend, which is what we're talking about. So I'll say the Cowboys because that is more of a fluff at home against the 7 seed. I don't care if the Packers are red hot, it's the 7 seed. You're at home in a dome. The Packers, Packers coming in have no business to win that game. And not only do they win, it's not like it's a close back and forth battle. The Cowboys looked horrible and they got kind of blown out. I mean, they just were never in that game. I guess, they lost by 15 or whatever it was, but they were never in that game. What was it? 31-7 at halftime. I mean, they were never in that game. I think they're the bigger losers than the Eagles because the Eagles were already in shambles for a month. The Cowboys were totally expected to win this game. I didn't see, I guess there were people on the Packers, but I would have expected them. But as an Eagles fan, I hate the Cowboys. Love to see it. Love to see it. Go get a cheesesteak, Mike McCarthy. Fat ass. All right. Well, we'll keep rolling on. And I guess, since I've been so amped up about Joe Flacco, you can say he's a loser of the week who did hit his over passing yards. So it's not like that was that bad, but, threw some interceptions. And, maybe you could say the Browns defense is the real loser of the week on that one. But
Yeah,
what, Brian?
if you add the pick six yardage, he threw for like 450. So
Yeah, he did.
If you
He
had the
really did.
touchdowns, he threw for 3 touchdowns.
there you go.
Yeah, he collapsed. The Browns collapsed. And it's kind of just what you expect that franchise to do, I guess. I really wanted to see Joe Flacco go into Baltimore and stir the pot up there. That would have been ridiculous. But now we got CJ Stroud, who gets to travel up there, and we'll see what he can do. Very diverse game at the quarterback position. I'll have him as my winner of the week because he balled the fuck out, dude. I mean, this guy lit up the world, throwing touchdowns, creating plays, extending plays, beating a team that I had down as the top defense in football. Clearly, that's not the case. The Ravens now take that spot, again, in my opinion. But I'll go CJ Stroud. Again, Brian, you also mentioned 2-win Texan team just won a playoff game and won the division, which, Jack, I'm pretty sure you said they had no shot of winning. So a lot of things there that CJ Stroud did. A lot of doubters. He proved a lot of people wrong, especially after he got hurt in that Jets game. Everyone thought they were just going to fall off a cliff. Now they're traveling to Baltimore. In the divisional round, who the hell would have thought that? The Texans, of all teams, would be in the divisional round. CJ Stroud, my winner of the week.
That's a good one, Matt. Yeah, no, I'm pretty impressed with Stroud and the Texans, D'Amico Ryan, what he's done with his team in year one. And as much as I'm a Jaguars fan, I gotta respect it and I appreciate good football. And what CJ Stroud is doing, hearing everybody say, "Oh, we got no shot." All right. And going out there and like Brian said, putting up one of the best QBRs, in NFL playoff history, right alongside with Jordan Love. They had near identical stats. So, yeah, he's definitely a winner. They're a winner this week. And now they got to go do it in Baltimore, which is not going to be an easy task. But we'll get into that game analysis in next week's pod. My winners and losers of this week, I'm going to start with the biggest loser for me. It's the Dolphins. They came into this one banged up, but they really just didn't put up a fight against a Chiefs team who has not looked good all year. I know that they dialed up some pressure and the defense really came alive, but this is an offense who scored 70 points in a game this season. This is an offense who had probably the best receiver on the season, Tyreek Hill. I mean, you can make a case for some of the other guys, but as far as how impactful he was, I mean, he's probably offensive player of the year, unless you want to give it to CMC. So I think their collapse was pretty brutal for me to see, and they screwed it up the week before by not making it a home game for themselves and winning the division. Not having to go play in -7-degree weather in Kansas City. They could have had it in Miami, but that's what happens when you don't win the games down the stretch and you cough it up like that. My winner this week, it's gonna be home teams, man. Home teams went 5-1. The only home team that lost this week was the Dallas Cowboys, who went undefeated at home during the regular season. So, just a twist of fate right there. How they're the only home team to forfeit a loss this week. But division winners, man. Top down in the AFC, and then almost had it in the NFC as well. So. Shout out the home crowd, definitely making an impact in the playoffs.
Yeah, so speaking of the Cowboys, we have some breaking news. They will retain Mike McCarthy next season.
Wow,
So
Fat McCarthy stays in there.
after
Wow.
after
Unreal.
that collapse. You could put a lot of it on Dak, maybe some of it on the defense, but Mike McCarthy also didn't have his team ready. So I guess he's
They were
staying.
absolutely not ready. I mean, I don't know how you run him back out there after just an absolute collapse like that.
Yeah, I don't know, but he will remain in Dallas. That's one job that may have been open that's closed now, but we still have a lot that are left on the table.
Before you get into what you want to play, I just want to say that's surprising. I remember when they hired him a couple years ago. I didn't like the hiring, and I was waiting for Kellen Moore to take over in Dallas, but I'm shocked. I'm shocked that they're retaining him for next year, man. I mean, I would think you have to change something up, and usually it's the coach or the quarterback, and it's a lot easier to switch up the coach and the quarterback. So I'm interested to see what happens down there.
Yeah, I will say he looked a lot better in the regular season with McCarthy kind of giving him the reins to the offense. Where Kellen Moore, I mean, we've seen what that guy can do now. That he kind of ruined Herbert after ruining Dak. But yeah, it's weird. It's weird to not make a change because you're not going to move on from Dak, like you said. And now that McCarthy's still there, they're just going to run it back after Dak.
Definition of insanity, man. Doing the same shit over and over and fucking expecting different results. Good. I hope, good. I hate the Cowboys. Let them do it. Do it again. Keep them there the next 10 years.
I probably will.
Good. Hope they do.
But yeah, before we move on from football, we have a lot of coaching positions that are open. Dallas may not be open, but you got the Falcons job open, the Chargers job open, Titans. So I want to play a quick game with you guys. Just we're all going to predict who is going to coach where by the end of the offseason. And then who knows? Maybe we'll give out a prize for whoever was closest. But yeah, we'll see if you guys can dethrone me from my my season-long picks crown. So I'll start with the Falcons here. I know my guess, but Matt, I want to see where you're thinking with the Falcons.
Yeah, I got two potentials. I'd say maybe Mike Kafka or maybe Frank Reich takes a quick trip down the highway there, maybe I-95, and see him jump in there. Probably not going to be a Dan Quinn. He was already had his run there, right? So we're not going to see him, I don't think, go back. They kind of tried to go the Arthur Smith, new young head coach route. Didn't really work out, so I think maybe they go. I'm leaning Frank Reich because he's the older, been around the league, been a head coach, maybe not successful, but still has been one. I think we'll get another shot. Just seems right for him. And I'll throw Mike Kafka in there as just a second maybe option if they want to go the young person route.
I don't hate the Frank Reich pick. I think he would fit well-ish with that team. The offensive mind and their offense has been misused for the past 4 years. So
right.
It definitely makes sense. But yeah, Jack, what are you thinking?
Yeah, so for the Falcons, speaking about insanity, I think they might go back to the well and hire Mike Vrabel. A coach who is definitely different, not not new in his offensive approach. I mean, we've seen it in Tennessee. He'll run Derrick Henry 30 times a game, feature maybe a receiver, maybe a tight end in the passing game, if they can open it up on play action, which is sort of what Arthur Smith was trying to establish, but he was doing it to, Jonnu Smith and Tyler Algier, like backup, tight ends and running backs. Mike Vrabel will come in, use Bijan the right way. He'll use Drake London the right way. So he's a defensive guy, and everyone knows, the Falcons are the dirty birds or whatever. Some people call the Eagles, but I know our boy Matt Gutman, friend of the program, his dirty birds. He loves calling the Falcons that because he's a little scumbag himself. But I just think that it's a good fit for them. They're normally a gritty defense. He's a gritty guy. I think that would make the most sense.
Yeah, no, that would make sense. Seems like they definitely need a change, and Vrabel was a big change from Arthur Smith. It'd be similar in a lot of ways, but different in a lot of ways as well. But
All right, Brian, stop fucking gatekeeping the Falcons head coach, dude. Who's it going to be? You seem like you got some juice on this. You had us all go first. What the foo is it?
I'm going with Bill Belichick.
Jesus Christ, man. That cannot be the guy, dude. What, you saw the NFL post it that he was rumored there, so that's what you're going to go with?
Well, he had an interview with the team, and I think the way he's talking about it, he wants a talented team that kind of is underperforming, and the Falcons, at least on offense, are extremely talented. And I don't know, we keep going back to the definition of insanity. Like if Belichick wants to deal with Desmond Ridder or Taylor Heineke at quarterback, like what he would do about that. But maybe he brings Kirk Cousins with him down to Atlanta.
He's just not that kind of guy, I don't think.
That's a lot of moving pieces.
Yeah.
Your dream to come true right here, Brian. But I don't hate it either. If I had to take a second after Vrabel, it would be Belichick. Again, I think that they want an experienced head coach down there in Atlanta. I think Atlanta fans are going to riot if they don't. And like you said, Belichick went there for a visit, met for a few hours. I'm sure he's going to have a follow-up one soon. So I could see that one. Absolutely.
Yep. Well, that was a lot of names off the board. So we'll see where it goes from here. But I guess the Chargers are next. That Jeff Smith is not going to retain his position. At least I don't think so. But it's the Chargers, so you never know. But yeah, Jack, I'll start with you this time. Who's going to coach that dumpster fire?
Harbaugh.
All right.
Harbaugh's going to take it over. LA likes their flashy moves, and Harbaugh making the jump from college back to the NFL. Just finished, or in his not just finished, but in his last stint in the NFL, he was coach of the 49ers up in San Francisco. Now he's down in LA. I think it makes a lot of sense. And I think that's where he's going to go.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Harbaugh. I mean, is he gonna leave though, or like that's still not even up in the air? Like, has he said, yeah, I'm leaving?
I think he's pretty certain to leave.
Yeah,
really? I didn't know it was that certain.
From everything that I've seen and heard, it sounds like a done deal that just hasn't been stated.
Wow. Well, I didn't know that. Yeah, I mean, Harbaugh is not bad then. I think his family's from out there too, no? So not 100% sure on that, but I thought they were from out there. But either way, I guess if I want to keep it, I could see them making a move for the Ben Johnson guy. I know Johnson claimed he's going to say, but we especially with the Eagles just getting absolutely cherry picked with coordinators over the past few years. Yeah, could totally see. We've had coordinators who say they're going to stay, and they right when the playoffs are done, they leave. So I'll guess Ben Johnson, maybe a Dan Quinn if they want to try and get some experience and just a veteran new style. They tried Brandon Staley, didn't work. I think they try and go for more of an offensive mind, though. I think Dan Quinn, though, can maybe get the camaraderie and the chemistry the team right. So that's why I would lean him on that. But yeah, I mean, that's what I got. It's the Chargers. Whoever they hire will be in absolutely turmoil, and the franchise will continue to be a joke.
Yeah, I don't think Dan Quinn should ever be an NFL head coach again after that Super Bowl. But I guess he's done well with the Cowboys, even though his defense just got shredded by Jordan Love.
He'll probably get a
Well,
shot, dude.
I was gonna say Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator. He's head coach of the Niners now.
Yeah, yeah, but
Yep. Yep.
two different career trajectories there, kind of. I don't know. But yeah, I like what Matt said about Ben Johnson. I think Justin Herbert needs that offensive mind around him. The Chargers brass knows that he needs to take that next step, and Ben Johnson, if he can make Jared Goff look like an MVP candidate, he can make Justin Herbert really look like an MVP candidate. And I'm sure
Right.
he'll be welcome to that move, even if he wants to stay in Detroit because of the team. LA is a whole lot nicer than Detroit. So I think
Right.
that might be able to sway him. So that's going to be my pick here. Uh, we're just going coast to coast here. But next up, we got the Titans. Vrabel gone. Probably the most surprising firing of the offseason. So where do they probably have to make a big splash. If you're going to get rid of Vrabel, you have to make a big splash. So where do they go from here? Matt, I will switch it over to you.
Yeah, I mean, I know I just said Dan Quinn, but I don't see why he wouldn't be a potential option for the Titans as well. I think we see probably just replaced with another veteran-esque style guy. Maybe we see an Arthur Smith. I don't know if that guy will even get a shot. He'll probably have to go the coordinator route to regain some steam to be a head coaching candidate. But maybe Dan Quinn. I guess Mike McCarthy's off the list. I don't know, man. I mean, is the Titans' job even that appealing right now?
Not really.
Yeah, that's maybe Dan Quinn, but maybe Brandon Staley. But there's just no way anybody in their right mind would hire that guy again.
Josh
Maybe
McDaniels.
Ron Rivera. Maybe what?
Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Like, no, uh, that's ridiculous. I don't know, man. Maybe Ron Rivera if he coaches again. I don't know who else is out there, but I just don't know this job is appealing enough to get one of the bigger names that's out there. So I'll say maybe Dan Quinn, maybe Arthur Smith if that guy even gets a shot. Don't even think he will though.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Mike Kafka here. It seems like the Titans need a different kind of mind in there, and I don't know, Kafka last year at least, he made the Giants offense look great. This year it was a disaster, but you also had Tommy DeVito in there for half the season. So like you said, this job's kind of gross. The Titans are just kind of gross, and now you're dealing with Trevor Lawrence and CJ Stroud in that division. So
Right.
it's not looking very good for the Titans. But yeah, Jack, it's your division. I guess who do you want to see them hire, and who do you think that you see them hire?
So the man I think they'll end up hiring is the last person I want them to hire, and that's Mr. Bill Belichick. Like you said earlier, he said he wanted a project, and Will Levis and this Titans team is most definitely a project. He's a young quarterback, but definitely a lot of promise in Levis, and I think that Bill would definitely appreciate him. And again, this is kind of going back to the well on the whole Falcons insanity thing because Vrabel is a descendant of Belichick, and you would think that they would want to switch it up, but sometimes it's hard to change what you know and love. And I think that regardless of what's going on in Tennessee, they'd be happy to have Bill Belichick at the helm, and I think that it would be a spot where he would welcome the project at hand.
Yeah, I could definitely see Belichick going there. Does he want to spend his latter years? Tennessee, Nashville, never mind. Never mind.
Tennessee's a beautiful place to live.
Yeah, I was going to make fun of Tennessee, but then I remembered they're in Nashville. So,
Yeah, I could see it maybe, especially stay in the AFC. Like he's familiar with the opponents.
it's a tough path to win that division with those two quarterbacks in there now.
It's
Yeah, I mean,
easier. It's
to be
probably
fair,
easier than the AFC East.
yeah, I mean, he's had it
Yeah.
easy his whole life or his whole career in the AFC East up until this point. So maybe he doesn't want that challenge, but I wouldn't think that he's one to shy away from that.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, speaking of a bad division, we got the Carolina Panthers job is open. Do you guys think anybody of relevance goes there to kind of see Bryce Young, or is that just going to
I
be
I would say the Panthers job is more appealing than the Titans job. Agree,
I
disagree.
think I agree with you on that.
I can definitely agree with that.
I mean, who like Panther? I mean, again, both divisions are poor. I know the Bucks just won a playoff game as the division winner, but for the most part, I mean, the Bucks were pretty poor this year. They played well, but also poor at times. I mean, a 9-0 win over the Panthers doesn't exactly scream excellence. In terms of head coach, I have no idea. This could be one where they hire somebody and you're like, who the hell is that? So that's what I'll lock in as my guess is who the hell is that?
All right. Not a bad guess.
No, it's not at all.
I don't hate that. No, I'm gonna put that as my number two. I'm gonna go with who the hell is the next guy. But I haven't used him yet, and I think that he would maybe like this opportunity. I'm gonna go with Ben Johnson here. I think getting Bryce Young early on in his career, being able to mold him into, coach him up into what he wants for his offense. I think he might welcome that job, and I'm gonna go with Ben Johnson as my number one pick for the Panthers head coaching job.
Yeah, I kind of wish I saved him for that. That's a great call. But I do think he'll if he gets interviewed for both the Chargers and the Panthers, I think like Justin Herbert is a great talent. And Bryce Young, I know he was the number one pick, but he might not be.
Yeah, you probably lean Herbert over Bryce Young as well as, and I know Charlotte's like a pretty decent area to live in. Like it's not horrible, but like,
But LA.
dude, LA, the new stadium, weather's nicer. Just probably live in a fat crib, like just the whole 9 yards. It's different, but you might be a country boy where he wants to go live, in Charlotte, North Carolina, and go catch the NASCAR race on the weekend, and drink some cold beers by the fire in the woods with his boys. You don't know what he's thinking about, dude. So we'll see what happens when we do the coaching hires. But
before we move on to the Seahawks, I will say I think Vrabel goes to the Panthers. He's going to be my pick for that job. I think he wants to prove that he can win with a subpar roster, I guess. But that defense is good, and that's what Vrabel loves. So I think that makes sense for him. But yeah,
so
then
he wants to prove that it wasn't him. That was the fault. It was the Titans.
And I think he'll love that.
I can see that
experiment.
All right. Well, speaking on the Titans, divisional foe of mine, I'm going to say right now it was not Vrabel. He's a great coach. I love Dougie P, so I don't want to say I want him or anything. But if I was any other team, I would love to have Mike Vrabel. That what happened this past season was completely on the front office, or maybe it's Vrabel trying to hold on to some of the players or trying to make the playoffs, have a good season, caring about his record, whatever it may be. But they needed to ship off Derrick Henry and who Justin Simmons, some of their bigger names. I know they got rid of Kevin Byard, but some of the bigger names they needed to get rid of at the trade deadline, try to get some draft capital and try to build around Will Levis, because that's where this franchise needs to go. And I'm sure that's what the next coach will do. But I would have to think that there was some turmoil, and that's what led to Vrabel's firing. Him wanting, good players right here, right now in the front office, saying we need to build for the future, and him not wanting to be a part of that.
Yeah, there had to be something going on behind the scenes there. Maybe Vrabel wanting to win and the front office wanting to lose, but not getting rid of it made no sense to get rid of Kevin Byard and then hold on to everybody else. Especially because they got rid of Kevin Byard so quickly. Like that was very early in the season. So it just doesn't make any sense.
And I guess last thing on the Titans, did they make the right move shipping AJ Brown off? I mean, they got fleeced and Treylon Burks looks horrible. But what's going on with AJ Brown? I mean, he's like causing a scene as well.
Yeah,
well, he's been a drama queen. I mean, we know that.
Every receiver in the NFL just wants the ball. I don't think there's any receiver that, at least a veteran, that's not going to cause some kind of
commotion. Commotion is the best word for that. But no, I mean, even with what they got back for that, the first round pick they picked was Treylon Burks, and that guy's been pretty much non-existent. I know they don't have a great team, but he hasn't been that good. And coming out of Arkansas, people said he was going to be amazing.
It doesn't make any sense to get rid of a young star receiver, then go ahead and draft an unknown receiver.
Especially when, I mean, what is Tannehill on? Is he on a fat deal? Because like it's not like the quarterback's on like a $40 or $50 million a year to where it's like, oh, you can't pay the guy. Or was Tannehill still on a crazy deal? I'm not
I mean,
100% sure.
they paid Tannehill, but I don't think it was anything
Yeah, it
ridiculous.
wasn't like
He was,
how it is now.
yeah, he was never like top five, but definitely got paid a decent amount for a quarterback. I mean, he's been around for a little while.
Facts. All right.
Seahawks,
Seahawks guesses. Let's guess.
Harbaugh.
Dan Lanning.
I'm saying with the college, with both of you guys on the college coach train, but I'm going Dan Lanning too. Oregon up to Seattle makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
I think, yeah, that's pretty on brand for them. I think one of us is gonna go.
Raiders will stick with Antonio Pierce, and then you're a jackass, so you threw in the Eagles, but they're probably not going to fire Nick Sirianni. It just sets a bad precedent.
They're gonna
If you
fire him.
you think so?
They're gonna fire him, and Dan Lanning is making his way to Philadelphia. History's repeating itself, and an Oregon coach is going back to Philly.
Chip
That
Kelly
would be
part two.
wild. Dude, it sets such a bad precedent. You get to the Super Bowl, have a chance to win, lose by 3. Really, probably should have won that game. I mean, Eagles had every right, a 10-point lead at halftime.
Every right to win.
Every right to win that game. Following year, start out the year 10-1, and then have a collapse and lose in the playoffs. But is that warrant
Yeah,
firing?
I think the locker room hates him. I think we're gonna see something come out where like he just lost the locker room. I don't think Hurts likes him at all
because the team does not play well anymore.
I remember seeing what's his name, AJ Brown defend Sirianni the other day. So
yeah,
I can't say he's lost everyone. I don't think Jalen Hurts is well liked within his own team, which I find pretty surprising considering how much it seems like he is a leader and a good dude. But I don't know. We don't know what's going on.
It's just what happens when teams get too overloaded with talent and they have it's everything's going well, and then you start fighting a little bit of adversity, and then everybody's quick to point fingers. Quarterback's the easiest spot to point, right? I mean, most important position on the field. So I think that's why you're seeing that. But yeah, I mean, the Eagles have I know I always say the Bears have a very interesting off season, but the Eagles now have one of the more better off seasons that people are going to be looking at, because Jeffrey Lurie, he is not a sit on the sidelines owner. You saw them jumping up to him in the box on Monday night in that playoff game, and he looked pissed. And like I said, he's not a sideline owner. That guy gets involved. So even though Howie Roseman calls the shots, Jeffrey Lurie, owner of the team, very much has his hand in the pocket of Howie Roseman in making moves, making hirings, firings, and that whole thing. And like I said, he looked pissed. His wife looked pissed. We'll see some stuff come out of Philly and the Eagles organization, I think, in this offseason because of that. But to fire a guy after making a Super Bowl that you should have won, and then being 11-6 or whatever it is, sure, you fumbled out of it, but that's such a bad precedent, man. Like, you fire him, and then who are you going to hire? Who the hell wants to come here? Because you're like, hey, I almost won the Super Bowl, but
they fired Andy Reid.
Yeah, but he was here for 14 years, Brian.
They still fired him.
Yeah, they did. Sirianni's been here for what, 2 years, 3 years,
and he hasn't done shit.
You almost won the Super Bowl.
Almost only counts in hand grenades and horseshoes.
He has like a 33-11 head coaching record.
Yeah, 1-7 in his last 8.
Brian, how many did Andy win with the Eagles?
None.
There you go. Relax.
Yeah, and he was there 14 years. Anyway.
I got one more quick thing out of Major League Baseball. So Bally Sports, I guess Diamond Sports is the head company. They've gone bankrupt. And Jeff Bezos saw there's an opportunity to get more in the sports game. So Amazon Prime will be carrying 5 teams' regional games starting next season because Bezos is bailing out Bally Sports from bankruptcy. So
the only thing I have to say to that is Bezos, he bought the company, correct? Bally Sports?
He bought a minority share in it, and he bought like the rights to these 5 teams. It's the Marlins, The Brewers, the Royals, the Rays, and the Tigers.
Yeah, it's the Bally sports teams. I feel like they're. Nah, I guess that's. I feel like there's more Bally sports teams.
There's
Is there-
11 total. He bought basically half.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say. I was like, I feel like there's more. So he probably maybe he won't get it then. But the only thing I have to say, and props to Bally Sports, is their theme song is fucking electric. So Bezos somehow incorporate that. And you know what I'm talking about? Where it's like da 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 da, da 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 da, bum 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 bum, da 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 da. I mean, that's the best theme song for baseball that baseball has. Is the Bally Sports theme song. It's one of my favorite. I listen to it. I look up Bally Sports theme song and listen to it. That's how much I love it. So Bezos, congrats on the new purchase, man. But incorporate that theme song, please, if you can.
Yeah.
Would appreciate it.
I thought we were about to get an anti-Eagles parlay right there, the way you started singing that.
Nah, none of that, dude. But that theme song is electric. Do you guys know what I'm talking about, or did that theme song not ring a bell?
I know exactly.
Jack has no idea. Brian might have an idea.
I think that's the show.
Well, I think that's the show because the MLB offseason has given us jack shit over these winter meetings. We see Ohtani sign, Yamamoto sign, and then everything goes to shit. I guess the Yankees got Stroman, but who cares?
Yep.
All but confirms Blake Snellzilla to Philly. Think that's a confirmation. All but confirms.
The Mets just traded a Rule 5 player for some cash considerations to use on Snell. So pump the brakes on that.
Maybe. I think the Phillies already signed Nola to the extension, kind of had to. The Mets are in a spot where, like, if they don't go get Snell, who else? Because the Mets pitching is in way more of a shit show than the Phillies pitching is. Yeah. Like, the Phillies still have, Wheeler, Nola. You still got a Taiwan Walker in there, who's whatever. You still have Ranger Suarez. Is Lorenzen coming back? Like, you'll still have him there in the mix. So they have pieces there. The Mets' best pitcher is fucking Jose Quintana.
They got Senga.
I guess Kodai Senga, but still, is Kodai Senga your number one ace going into a playoff series? Don't feel super confident in that.
They could have Wheeler and they could have Taiwan Walker, but they're over in Philadelphia.
Yep. And I guess maybe we'll see Taiwan Walker get a playoff appearance this year, as he was very animated on Twitter after the Phillies choked out of that NLCS. But
did he change his profile picture back yet, or is he still no Phillies?
I don't know, man. I mean, he's signed to a contract. He can fucking throw whatever he wants up there. He's here for 2 more years, whether he likes it or not. But yeah, that's the show. Midweek pod. It was a lot of shit. But we're glad we could bring it to you as always. Really look out for the bracketology, because Brian and I have dialed that shit up, and it should be pretty rock solid, especially with the mid-majors. And also keep track of the Australian Open. If you want to hop on the Rybakina future bet, let's get involved. Let's get in on it. Let's see if this girl can go win a damn thing. That'd be pretty electric as well. So stay locked in for we'll see if she can keep the train rolling here. That's all I got. It's the Views from Section 400 midweek show. Other than that, I got nothing. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.
Thunder are winning the finals.
Keep riding Auburn basketball.